He's only 4 ounces out of the lead. He's in the number 2 position. He's going to have bass today. He had a limit with over 13 pounds on yesterday. We'll see if he can do it. We'll try to catch up with him today on the water. Ron Wiseman, the man to watch. What's going through your mind right now? It's the final day. It's early in the morning. Have you got your strategy all laid out, your baits all tied on?
I'm sticking to my guns. I've got 2 Carolina rigs rigged to the same thing. Just a little lizard, clear water plastic lizard, and I'm just going to go out there and kind of drag the one area I've been on all day and get those 5 bites. And I really just want to make sure I got 5.
I'll see you at weigh-in this afternoon, 3 o'clock.
Yes, you will.
The 2001 Bassmasters Tournament Trail, presented by Long John Silver's. This is the Bassmaster Western Invitational, brought to you by Evertroll.
Hello and welcome to Columbia Park in Kennewick, Washington, launch and wayside of the Bassmasters Western Invitational on the Columbia River. After 2 days of fishing, it's become a smallmouth contest dominated by local anglers, holding 4 out of the top 5 spots.
I'm fishing a lot of soft plastics and trying to fish them pretty slow. The fishing's been very tough, and unfortunately we have a great fishery here, but it hasn't shown itself yet. The first day when I had almost 20 pounds, that shows the kind of quality of fish we have up here. It's just we haven't been able to get very many of them, and I knew today was going to be tough because as soon as we got out we had a northerly wind, and I only caught 6 fish today, and it was tough, and I had just about half the weight I had yesterday, so that shows you the fish were way down in size. And
weight 13 pounds and 10 ounces.
We jumped on spot number 1 and went biteless, and so our morning was looking pretty sad, but told him I got another spot down below a little farther, and we went down there in a couple of hours. We both had limits, and we lost a limit between the 2 of us at the boat. So I think I'm going to go right back to this spot. It seems to be pretty well loaded up with fish, and going to try and scrape up another limit.
13 pounds and 13 ounces. 13, huh? Great job.
We were just fishing a break line today that had weeds on it and dropped into about 10 feet of water, and those fish were just thick in there. And all we were doing was just dragging plastics, and they just came one after another. And I think it'll hold one more day.
I'm pretty much fishing just a Carolina rigged lizard, green pumpkin. That's all I'm doing, and we're fishing in the anywhere from 15 to 19 foot on just a little mud flat where the fish are staging. So I've got plenty of fish sitting there still, and there's nobody fishing them but me and my partners. And my only threat is my partners are catching just as many fish as I am for just as much weight, so we'll see what's left over for tomorrow.
And with only 4 ounces separating first and second, and 10 ounces between third and fifth, it promises to be an exciting final day at the Bassmasters Western Invitational.
Well, what's that fluorescent yellow band all about? Well, let me tell you real quick. It's in order for these anglers to be able to catch more than 3 fish over 15 inches. If they don't have the band, they have to stop once they've caught those 3 big ones. So the state of Washington brings the yellow bands out, puts it on the outboard engines. Now on the other side of that band is a fluorescent orange color. If one of the anglers were to get in trouble or break down, he could flip that band over, and it would be easy for the rescue squad or a bass official to find them.
The Bassmasters, brought to you by Long John Silver's. You can't resist the cravings. Berkeley Fireline, catch more fish. Pennzoil Marine, it's the right equipment for fishing. And by Bass Pro Shops, the world's leading supplier of premium fishing tackle.
A little nippy this morning. Yeah, we got stuck in some nasty fog down there. We had to go off plane for probably about 20 minutes and just ease along. But we made it just in time for the lock. That's good fish.
Hold on. Okay, here we go.
No.
There we go. Hey, babe. I see you dropping marker, dude. Of course, she ain't moving much. Now we're cooking. Trading places?
Nope.
Nice fish. Nice fish. There you go, dude. Nice.
That's how we want to start it. There's how we want to
get the fish and I'll get her. There you go.
Right. Thank you, partner.
Now it all gets easier.
It's a beautiful day here on the banks of the Columbia River for the Western Invitational. Now, Fish, tell me a little bit about this invitational circuit that Bass puts on.
Well, it can get confusing, Reed. You know, the West is made up of 4 events, and 4 guys at the end of the season will qualify for the Bassmasters Classic, as well as 5 guys from the Central Invitational, 5 guys from the Eastern Invitational, and then 25 guys will come from our big Top 150 circuit that's all over the country.
Well, earlier I had a chance to catch up with 3 participants in the Western Invitational that are also on the 150 tour, and here's what they had to say.
These invitational tournaments that we fish here is pro on pro, so you have 2 pros in the boat at the same time competing against each other, as opposed to the Top 150s where it's a pro-am format, and you have an amateur and a professional.
Your tactics are a lot different. You try to plan around what your other partner is going to do and what you have to do, because he gets half the day, and I mean, you kind of have to work together on that aspect. And then on the other hand, you go to a Top 150 and you have the whole day to do whatever you want. I mean, you can kind of plan it out. If your fish don't bite right away, you can go try something else and then come back to those fish. And, you know, here or on an invitational, if your fish don't bite that first half of the day, you really don't have another chance to go do anything.
The reason I fish the Top 150s and the Western Invitationals is to have 2 avenues to make the Bassmasters Classic. You never know when you're going to have a good season or a bad season, and sometimes you have a great year on the Invitationals, bad year on Top 150s, vice versa. So last year I was fortunate enough to qualify on both sides. This year, we don't know what's going to happen. We're off to a good start on both sides, and we'll just keep fishing and see what happens.
All I got going is a basic Carolina rig. The only difference I think I might be doing other than other guys is I've got one of those Gambler rattling Carolina weights, and I'm using a fairly short leader, like no longer than 12 inches, so I can keep that bait close to the sound.
There we go. He ain't little, is he? Maybe. Keeper. Maybe.
I've only fished this pool one other time, about 3 years ago. I had one day out here during a tournament, and it blew so hard we had 6 and 7 footers right here during that tournament. I found this in practice, and to tell you the truth, I had a hard practice. It was this is the only spot I had. This is it. And going into the tournament, I knew there were some fish here, but you just really don't know the quality and how many there are going to be until you start sticking them. It's another good fish. Okay, here we go, right here. Oh, these are all good fish, man.
Well, the water temperatures, we're up on the Snake this morning. Water temperature is a few degrees higher than it is in the Columbia. The water's awful. The water's also a little bit off-colored compared to what it is in the Columbia. So we probably only have about 3 or 4 feet of visibility here, whereas we were having about 15 feet yesterday. As you can see, we're fishing a little current break and some structure down here below these barge pilings here. This is Larry's water. Larry Cross from California caught a nice limit off here yesterday, and we decided between the two of us that my fish were giving out a little bit, so we thought we'd come up here and see if we could both get a limit.
There's a little bit of brush piled around this as the current brings it in. It just piles of brush right at the bottom of the tank here.
So there's a few fish working in here. Larry's landed one small one. I had one small one bite, but he's throwing a 5-inch grub, and I'm throwing a 3-inch tube right now. So we'll see what's going to happen here. Oh, nice one. Nice fish. You got a good sturdy line, huh?
4-pound test. What is it? 12. Got him.
Got it.
Thank you, sir.
You want to put that hook in your finger?
Board him just to be safe. Oh yeah.
What is it?
It's a 13-inch fish. I'll have to call him before the day is over.
Looked bigger than that when it jumped.
Huh?
Looked bigger than that when it jumped.
Felt bigger than that too when I set the hook.
What we've got here is, like I said, the rail grade's off to the left, and basically what I've got is I'm sitting off a hump. It's usually about 17 feet on both sides, and it comes up to about 13 right here on the hump. And most of the fish are, you know, basically on one side or the other, not really on top of it. And I think what the hump is it must have been an old, like, where a signal or something was on the railroad grade, a crossing sign, because there's a tiny bit of rock on top of it. The odd thing is the fish aren't really sitting on the rock on the grade, they're out on the mud flat, so I'm just bringing a Carolina rig up the side pretty slowly.
All right, there we got a good fish. Good fish. Oh yeah, this is what we need. These are the fish we need right here. Time for coffee break yet? I know, don't worry about it. You take your time. Oh, it's a good fish. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, buddy. Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Got him? All right. We'll need to turn your aerator.
Yeah. That's a nice smallmouth. That's a good one.
Yeah, all right.
When you're fishing, awareness is really the key to understanding the position of the fish. Obviously, if you catch a fish on top, that's fairly simple. You don't really have to be real awake to know where that fish came from. And most of the time, if you're working bottom lures and the fish hits on the bottom, you know where the fish is positioned. It's those fish that are in between that really are the more difficult ones to catch. And it's really the ones you need to really pay attention. If you're throwing a crankbait and the crankbait's going down and it's 10-foot depth and the fish hits at 5 foot, you got to be aware of that. This is really where concentration pays off, because you've got to be able to position the fish and know what the depth the strike zone is, and then keep your lure there.
Send your answer line question to Bassmaster Answer Line, 5845 Carmichael Road, Montgomery, Alabama 36117. Please include a picture with name, address, and telephone number.
This one isn't as big, Larry, I can tell. Oh, she's still a measure, though. All right, I'm gonna reel in. I know you like the baby in there. Let me get this thing out of here. Okay, you let me know when we're ready.
I should be ready. He's strong. That's a good one.
Yeah. There you go. Got it. Fish on. Oh, come on, stay down.
Good fish?
Yeah, it's a decent fish. Sorry about this, dude. I'm trying to stay out of your way.
You're obviously out deeper.
Well, I don't know. This last two you hit, you're in 10 foot, so maybe you need. Oh, come on, baby. Feels like a good fish. Got some weeds on him, though, too, I think. Yeah, he's getting smaller.
The partner's killing me here.
Okay. Thanks, dude.
Or better. Come on, baby. Oh yeah, that's a good fit. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. He's 3. Yeah.
Oh, baby.
I hope that ain't a carp.
No, it ain't a carp.
This is a pig, whatever it is.
This is your keeper. Come on, dude. Come on, Brownie. Come on. Oh, God, buddy. That's the one you needed.
Baby.
Right here. Woo! That's the one, dude.
Just cut it, man. Just cut it. Holy
Columbia River Smalley.
The 2001 Bassmasters Tournament Trail, presented by Long John Silver's. This is the Bassmaster Western Invitational, brought to you by Evertroll.
Welcome back to the Bassmasters Western Invitational on the Columbia River. I'm Reed Ryan, and with me is Fish Fishburne. Fish, talk a little bit about this Columbia River system that these anglers are going to be fishing.
Reed, the Columbia is a huge river. These anglers are going to be allowed to fish 2 different pools of water separated by a lock and dam system, Lake Wallula and Lake Matilla. Now, that's 120 miles of fishing. So here's the problem. The lock and dam, these guys pull into this deal if they don't talk to the lockmaster previously and know what times they're allowed in and out of the locks. It could stall them and cause some problems getting back to weigh in.
And nobody wants to see that happen. Actually, a lot of the fish these anglers have been bringing in have been smallmouth. Does that surprise you?
It really doesn't. You know, after 2 days of fishing, we've only seen 7 largemouth total. That's odd, but this time of year in the fall, the temperatures are starting to cool down, and the smallmouth are primarily the fish of choice.
What are these fish hitting? What is the technique that's working best for these anglers?
It's all finesse fishing, Reed. And finesse fishing, we're talking about downsizing your lures, downsizing your monofilament line, and going small, man. That's how you get more bites, and it's not taking a lot of weight to maintain a big position in this. As a matter of fact, when it comes to finesse fishing, we visited with one of the best in the West, Aaron Martins, and here's what he had to say.
The Bassmasters Pro Tip, brought to you by Evertroll.
The majority of anglers in this tournament are using a drop shot. What we have here is we have a Palomar knot. I tie a Palomar knot, run a line to the top of the eye of the hook down, which holds the hook straight out. And what I have here is a Bacchanal, it's a lead Bacchanal weight. You can vary a leader any distance you want. I mean, people use them at the 3 feet long. I try to stay under a foot, but this tournament I'm using about 14-inch leader. Today is a little tougher. And you can use any pound line. I've used it all the way from like 4-pound to 12-pound line, and it's a very, very versatile rig. Another way to finesse fish is a split shot. And what we do here is to tie a hook at the bottom, take any size weight you want to. If it's a windy out or if it's really calm out, I go down to a really lightweight sometimes. And what we do is this rig is just drag it really slow, let the worm kind of float off the bottom behind the weight. And it's a really good way of catching finicky bass. And you hardly ever miss a fish on it. You hook them really well. And this is another rig that a lot of people are using this week, and it's working well for a lot of people. And it's a good rig to try sometimes if you have time.
The railroad grade's creating a slight current break all the way along this flat, and I had to downsize the weight so that I could get kind of a halfway natural presentation, like it's drifting with some current that's there. There's very little there. Yesterday I came in here and my non-boater had 3 fish before I got a bite, and I was going with too heavy of a weight and too long a leader. I had to downsize both. Go down to that real light Mojo weight and to get bit, make it a little more natural.
Here he is. Easy, dude. That's another good one. Nice fish, nice fish. Bring him up here. Bring him up here. Quit shaking your head. Oh. Yeah. Yes.
He's not as big as yours, I don't think, but he's a good fish. Ready? I'll bring it back. Oh, yeah, thank you there. Oh, baby. That's gonna help a lot. Oh, that's a beautiful fish. But it's too bad in this, these are small fish, right, Larry?
Yeah, this is a lake known for small bass.
Oh, all right, thank you very much, Larry. Oh, that was a great fish.
Look at that, bud.
Thank you. I'll shake your hand as soon as I get it in the lab.
Beyond the Tournament Trail, presented by Long John Silver's.
Just set the record straight.
Yeah. I love to dance, and actually in high school I was like a wallflower, or junior high and stuff. I was a wallflower. Couldn't get me a dance, but I noticed all the guys that were getting the girls knew how to dance, so I learned how to dance. I wound up going to work for some of the clubs as a stage dancer and cage dancer, or whatever you want to call it, and go-go dancer. And
were you a fisherman, a fireman, policeman?
We actually met at a fishing show, a sports trade show. She was working in a booth. A friend of her family's is a lure manufacturer. They make trout lures.
Ultralight tackle.
They make all them lures to catch bass bait. When we get it for that one. And she was in the booth promoting tackle, and I walked by and I'm like, dang, who's that girl in the booth? So after a couple hours, you know, making a couple laps around the show and looking at her, it's like, all right, I got to go over to the booth and at least say hi. She wouldn't give me the time of day.
Yeah, I really wasn't interested in a relationship, and I think it was more my dad who was so excited that a fisherman, you know, wanted to go out with me. So he's the one that kept planting the seed and putting the card on my desk, saying, you've got to call this guy. And Skeet called me at work maybe 3 weeks later, and this was in February, and I said, well, I've got something in March up your way, so why don't we get together in March? So
really, we did. Our first day, it was a fishing trip.
Was fishing.
Yeah, we went up to Lake Sonoma and went fishing, and it was kind of cool because I've never taken a woman fishing before, and especially a woman that knew how to fish. You know, she grew up all her life fishing, so she knew how to cast. She shows up with a bait casting rod and reel. I'm like, dang, check that out. You go, girl. All right.
The first year, we spent 3 months together, and we lived out of our van, and we really did. I had a great time. Fishing-wise, it was a struggle for Skeet. Learning the ropes, learning how to handle the pressure, everything. It was an eye-opener, but I think it was, we were fortunate to be doing it together because then we had each other. The second year, we had just gotten married, and Skeet left, and he was gone for 3 months, but he had a fantastic 3 months. So then we start questioning, well, maybe I shouldn't travel with him.
She's thinking, now we're thinking, is she bad luck? If she's not at a tournament, I'm doing great. And if she's there, I'm not doing good. I'm like, oh, this isn't a good scenario. We gotta figure this one out. From the business side of it, she helps me out dramatically. By her being able to take care of hotel reservations, plane flights, working with contracts with the sponsors, just any correspondence with all my sponsors, she's able to do a share of that. And it takes a lot of pressure off me, which allows me to focus on the fishing aspect of the sport a lot more, and makes my life a whole lot easier.
He loves fishing so much that I know there's times that he just doesn't need me there. That's just the way it is. But then there's the downside. Well, you do and you don't. You know, there's so much, and this is one of the experiences when we do go on the road, is that the time I enjoy the most is when Skeet's driving, when we're driving, because then he's in one spot and we get to talk and we get to go over the events and things that happened. When he's in competition, we have no time together.
And now it's a ride is all it is. We just try and do the best we can, take care of the sponsors the best we can, and it's still about the fishing. I mean, I love fishing truly, but I think I love the competition of the tournaments more than anything, and that's what drives us all in any competitive sport.
And the reach, like I always check, you know, in the morning I'll go to the internet and bring up the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers homepage for the Walla Walla district, and they have all the flow rates and levels and all that. And, yeah, it's real-time data, so you can go in and look right at it. And then plus you can, University of Washington charts it over the, you know, keeps track of it. You can tap into their database, and it's real sweet. You can go in and see exactly what happened all year and then compare it to years before, and, you know, run your chart programs and see exactly what's happened when. It's cool.
Oh, it's a nice fish, dude.
Nice one?
Yeah.
You're turning on.
I don't think you got a good hook in there. We're reeling in.
Oh yeah, it's a decent fish.
Whoa.
I'm fishing 10-pound test line on a Lamaglass 764. It's a medium heavy rod, and I like to use that 7'6" because when you're particularly in deeper water and you got that light line, you know, you can pick up that slack and stuff pretty quickly and get that hook into them real well. I'm throwing a Clearwater green pumpkin lizard. It's a Clearwater custom tackle. It's a hand-poured bait. It's softer, and it's a little bit more buoyant than some of those injection baits, which I think has really made a difference for me.
Watch that one bite.
I don't know what we got here. He doesn't feel real big. I think he'll cull him when you want, though. Hold up, he's not quite ready. Okay. Nailed that one. Call fish. Neat little piglet, isn't he? You're related to me. You got a belly on him. These fish, in my opinion, are still in a summer pattern. You know, I don't think they've gone to a fall pattern. We've had those cold nights, and I'm sure they're getting close to that pattern, getting into the fall move, but right now these fish are kind of not quite into that transition period yet. The water hasn't started to, well, actually rivers I don't believe even do turn over the way it keeps moving through.
There we go. Good fish.
Oh, buddy, get him over here. Get him over here, dude.
Nice catch.
Jesus, man. You are making me work for those. He's got a fucking hook in his mouth.
There we go. Oh, it's a good one, too. That's a good fish. Oh, yes. He's close to 4. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. That's a 4-pounder, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, he's 3.5, somewhere there.
Oh, baby. Let him run. Let him run. Don't pull this one up out of the water. You're gonna help it. Lay him up. Lay him up. Lay him up. Oh, no, lay him up.
Oh, yeah.
That'll do it. Look at it. Hook come out.
Broke him off.
Ah, baby.
Yeah, down.
There's a bite. There's a bite.
That's the first thing this morning, you bet.
Yeah. He's feeling pretty small. Oh, it was one of these felt like he still feels little.
It's all over now. It's all over. Turn it. Turn it.
All right. There, here.
Congratulations.
Good job, buddy. Thank you.
I'm glad you're able to catch him here, bud.
Look at that. Just popped right out.
Well, we know fishing is a family sport, and I had a chance to catch up with the Reese brothers, Skeet and Jim Reese. Jim, you're 4 years Skeet senior. How long have you been fishing for a living?
I've been fishing for about 4 years now.
And you mostly fish primarily in the West?
Yes, I do.
Now, what do you think about your little brother over here going out to the East Coast and really lighting them up? I mean, he's set the fishing world on fire over there. He's done a great job.
Yeah, we're real proud of him. He's doing real well back there, and after the first year, he took off, and there's no stopping him. And we all believed in him. The whole family did, and you know, he's doing it right. We're proud of him.
Skeet, that's got to make you feel good knowing that not only your brother, but the rest of the family supports the efforts that you've made.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I've had a lot of family support growing up, and it's been fun growing up in fishing tournaments with Jim. And we learned a lot together. I was just the one. I was able to take the gamble and leave the job and chase the tournament trail around the country. Jim's more than capable of doing the accomplishments I have done, and but if he can ever get out on the trail, he'll do well. So.
Do you have plans to go out and fish back east with the top 150 circuit?
Well, I put the seed in this a couple months ago to fish the top 150s next year, so we'll see what happens.
Now, you're a married man. You have some kids as well.
Yeah, I got a 7- and 4-year-old boy, girl, and they're wonderful, and I miss them every day, and it's going to be kind of hard to to leave them behind, but maybe we can plan a few vacations.
Well, on the bass circuit, we've got a lot of father and son teams competing for big cash, and now you got a couple of brothers to contend with, Skeet and his brother Jim Reese.
The 2001 Bassmasters Tournament Trail, presented by Long John Silver's.
All right, folks, get ready for this. In the number 7 position with 20 pounds and 8 ounces, Skeet Reese. Skeet Reese from Catati, California, has got his family, his friends, his nieces, his nephews. Got a lot of folks out here supporting you, Skeet. How many today?
I got me a limit today, Fish.
A limit of fish coming up strong. Now, his brother Jim is also in there. It looks like it could be 50 pounds. Here we go. Watch the weight. 10 pounds even. 10 pounds, Skeet. You better grab a couple of those now. He's been extremely consistent, bringing us limits every day. He fishes the top 150 circuit. He fishes the World Championship fishing circuit. Man, oh man, will it hold up? We're going to get a calculation to see where that puts you, Skeet, but what a great week you had.
Yeah, Fish, I really, I only had 2 days of practice, so to catch what I've caught this week, I'm tickled to death. I got to thank all my partners every day. They've been wonderful. It worked out well. I caught all my fish drop shot in Carolina rig. Carolina rig was the deal today.
All right, Skeet, best of luck to you.
All right, Fish, see you.
There he goes, Skeet Reese, and here comes in the 10th position with over 18 pounds of bass. Guess what? He's got them. Man, oh man, oh my! Oh, I see a couple of giants in here. I can't wait to see this. Justin, you're 17 years old.
Yep.
Are you ready?
I am.
4 bass, 1 shy of the limit. Watch the weight. 13 pounds. And 2 ounces, 13.2. Step up here, my man. Grab 2 of those big ones. Watch this. Justin Campbell with 2 of the biggest smallmouth we've seen all week. Look at that. Well, Justin, congratulations, first of all, but tell me a little bit about your week out here on the river. You live right here, don't you?
Yeah, it's been kind of tough. The morning bite seems to be the good thing, so. And I lost another one about 4 today, so. I don't know if that's going to do it.
Have you fished many tournaments before, or is this your first pro event?
It's the first big one.
Do you have a goal in mind or a career change? Are you going to go to college? Are you in college? Are you going to fish for a living? What are you going to do?
No, I'm still in high school, and fishing would be nice for a living.
Think you could handle that?
I think I could.
Yeah, you need some sponsorship?
Yeah.
Who sponsored you in this event?
My grandpa and my parents and my family.
The whole family. Are they here?
Yeah.
Well, give the family a round of applause, too. Justin, congratulations, my man. Great job.
Thanks.
All right, let's watch him. Woo! Hope to have him back up here in a few minutes with over 22 pounds of bass. He's got a shot at it. Yeah, Pete, I know you were nervous going out this morning. What'd you think?
The highlight of this week was catching a fish in front of the ESPN camera this morning. They waited and waited, and as they were putting the camera away, I hooked one, and they got it.
4 bass today, 1 shy of the limit. You're going to need some big weight to go towards the top. 9 pounds and 12 ounces, 9-12. It'll hold you up there towards the top. Reach in there and grab one of those bass, and let's get a couple of still photos, as well as ESPN, too. Oh, man. Look at those 2 big ones. All right, the money is getting tight towards the top, I can tell you that. Good job today. All right, Mark, you need 5. How many?
I feel real good about today. I got 5.
All right, he's going to make a big charge towards the top. Man, he's got a couple of big, giant smallmouth. And we go to the scales. Could be the biggest 5-fish limit of the day. Watch his weight. 16 pounds and an ounce. 16.1. You did it. Oh, mama. He caught so much weight, we threw the whole group off. They can't even calculate it. They have no idea. All right, put them back. I got some news for you. Unofficially, you made a move into the number 3 position.
Well, I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm just, to be honest with you, I'm happy to be top 10 in this tournament. I was here 2 years ago, and I caught 1 fish in 3 days. So I think I made a dramatic improvement over my last showing. So.
All right, my man, great job. Woo, 16 pounds and an ounce. Get ready for this. Jason Allred in the number 3 spot. Oh my! He's gonna need just over 3 pounds. A 5-fish limit for Jason. Watch the weight. 12 pounds and 7 ounces. He's got the lead. Show me some bass, Jason. Man, these guys are catching huge smallmouth bass on the Columbia River. And Jason, I hope it holds up for you. Look at that. Sponsored by the fine folks at Ranger Boats. Jason, tell me what you did this week to catch all these fish.
Well, I ended up locking through all 3 days. I happened upon a spot during practice that just really had fish loaded on it, and caught 4 limits off it the past 2 days, me and my partners, and probably could have had a 5th limit with, you know, my partner today. He probably could have had a limit easy, but he was fortunate or nice enough to let me sit there and fish and try and get a good bag.
All right, Jason, best of luck. Go watch the weights.
Thanks.
There he goes. Man, it's going to be close. Every ounce counts. Well, folks, get ready for this. Here he comes in the number 2 spot as of yesterday with 28 pounds, 11 ounces. Welcome, Ron Wiseman Jr. How many bass are in this?
There's 5 toads.
Uh-oh. Here we go. 6'9", the weight to watch, and we go to the scales. 17 pounds. And 5 ounces, 17.5. Go to the basket. Folks, he's got it. Ron Wiseman, my man, tell me about your week.
Oh, it's been a dream week, Fish, and you know, I don't care where I land at this point. It's been a terrific flight.
Well, you're in the top spot right now unofficially. We've got a few more guys that could push it, but what'd you catch them on?
I caught every one of my fish this week on a 5-inch Zoom green pumpkin lizard.
Every one of them?
Every one of them.
All smallmouth?
Every one of them.
Did you spend a lot of time here?
I live on this water.
You're here every day?
Well, down below, down around Boardman. I'm glad the weather held out for me.
All right, Ron, best of luck to you. Go watch the weights.
Thanks.
There he goes. Man, what a catch. We're getting ready to go to the leaderboard because we've got our leader coming up, folks. After 2 days, a combined weight, 28 pounds, 15 ounces. Welcome, Stan Scott. Look at this. Stan Scott. He's going to need a huge weight to take the lead. You're going to need 17 pounds. Watch his weight, 5 bass, 11 pounds, and hold it, 11. He's got it, 11, folks. What an effort. Hold a couple of those up for us. It's going to hold him right up there towards the top. We'll get a calculation to see where that's going to land him. We've got several boats from Ranger and Ranger Trail trailers with Mercury engines hanging on the back. He's in the number 2 position.
Well, that's what I kind of figured was going to happen, and Larry and I talked it over ahead of time. And my fish, you know, I had that 19 6-pound bag the first day, and my fish were petering out, and we knew that. And Larry was an 8th, and we needed to get him some fish too, so we ran on up, and we locked up the snake and ran up about 20 miles. Now, the amazing thing about it, only 3 boats went up, and we were all in the lock together. And Clint Johansson and Aaron Martins were ahead of us. We were trailed them the whole way, and they went to the exact spot that Larry was going to go. And they were sportsmen enough and professionals enough to move out and let us fish that. And without them, I wouldn't have had that weight today, and I want to thank them.
All right, Stan, great effort. Thank you. With a combined total catch, 3 days of 46 pounds. Welcome from Oregon, Ron Wiseman Jr. Ron, 46 pounds of bass, a 5-fish limit each of the 3 days. Give him a big round of applause, everybody. Come on. Woo! Over $36,000 payday right there for Ron Wiseman. He made it happen each day, and he wins by a margin of almost 6 pounds. Can you tell me a little bit about the river and what she did for you this week?
Fish that The river, the main thing that helped me was the weather. You should know 2 years ago when you guys were here, it was completely the opposite. Had it been like that, I wouldn't have done nothing on this river. I was able to run down below to a little spot I had, and in 3 days, I think we caught 50 fish off of it.
Wow, and your partners brought limits in alongside of you.
Correct. Unfortunately, Rich Ianolo, I wasn't able to get him a limit off of it, but my first day and today's partners, I let them catch a limit off of it, and I think I caught 2 limits off of it today, and it was a phenomenal week. It was amazing.
I mentioned earlier I had a chance to visit with your wife, and she said this was your very first BASS event.
Yes, it is. And gee, I enjoyed the heck out of it.
I guess so. All right, folks, there's your champion. One more big round of applause for Ron Wiseman Jr. And here we go with the top 10 spots from Washington. Ron Wiseman, our champion, followed by Stan Scott from Richland, Washington. Jason Allred, Mark Tyler, and Peter Krause tie for 4th. Justin Campbell is number 6. Skeet Reese in the 7th position. Greg Hines, Larry Crofts, and David Crom round out your top 10.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.